not a monster. I would never sacrifice my child.
Relax. I wouldn't expect you to harm Claudia or Soren. You will sacrifice your
Mom,
other
you're like,
child.
My other? I don't have a...
But you do.
What? Who?
Our child. Our baby was so cute. And has grown to quite the strapping young homunculus. Are you telling me you can't see the resemblance? He has my lovely eyes. I'm afraid this voice must be from your side of the family.
Okay, so to explain that little critter, homunculus are not. It's not. Well, it isn't their child. It wasn't conceived in the way of a child. A homunculus is like a golem in the sense that basically, okay, Viren's magic and Erebos' magic combined together with that worm all created that thing. That thing is not... So technically, yes, it's a being that came from both of them, and that way, yes, it's their child.
well, it still counts for the ritual, so it still counts for me.
But it's not actually their kid. It's like a spirit entity made purely of...
It's still their kid. It came from both of them. It's still their kid.
Okay, you get what I mean by that. It's essentially, it was brought into being for one purpose, and that thing was a golem. A golem is essentially a thing you create with your own magic that's not really a being, but more like a servant, essentially. Like, think of it this way. You enchanted a stack of rocks to come to life, to lift a barricade off of somebody. As soon as it does that, it goes back to being inanimate.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that thing is.
Kinda.
Kind of. Only this one actually has a little bit more sentience to it.
This thing's literally a living
an
being.
actual person, just not...
He's just a kid. He's
Yeah.
like 2 days old, man.
He's still very much... Like I said, it's very complicated to explain. But essentially, it is still a being. It is still a child, young version of...
Tell the context of the spell and why he needed to sacrifice one of his own children in the first place, and why that makes us even better.
Okay, fine. Okay, so in order for Viren to come back to life, he has to kill one of his own
Mom?
children to take his place to be dead. But, well, obviously he's not that cruel. He doesn't want to kill his daughter or his son. So, essentially, our starry friend over there on the other side of the mirror thought about this ahead of time.
It was just like, yeah, okay, so here's our kid. Go ahead, kill him.
And because that was named as both, do you remember when the very first season that this guy appeared, Viren had to do a ritual where he cut his hand and it bled into the thing and then out popped that little
Worm cat
thing?
Yeah.
Well, the spell combined both part of his blood, part of Erebos' blood, and both of their magic.
and they have a baby.
So, technically, it doesn't have to be your child. It just has to be somebody that shares the same blood you do.
Mm-hmm.
And because that being subsequently also shares a little bit of blood with Viren, that's what Erebos means by, oh, you do have a child. Ours, kill that vessel, and you can be free without having to kill your children.
Mm-hmm.
But because Viren, I guess, is getting a redemption arc this season, he doesn't do that. Because it is still technically his kid, and even if it is just a weird creature,
Science!
at least to him a weird creature, he still doesn't want to kill it.
Okay.
It's his own blood.
No, I'm not going to do it. And then he kind of just rolls over and accepts his fate. And then Erebos, the last thing he says to him is, fine, do this, but then I'll just talk to your daughter instead. Like, basically, did you really think you were the only piece I had? I've got more pawns in this game than you know, Viren.
He just kept. Well, I mean,
She whispers to him, "The sun will fine, but the sun will rise tomorrow, and you will not." And then walks away.
So, in other words, Viren and Erebos had a messy breakup.
Oh my god. Yes, Taylor. Messy breakup. Yes.